Życie jest piękne. Nie gniewajcie się na siebie. Halo ziemia! Halo ziemia! Moi drodzy, Księżyc, Słońce, Wenus, Mars, Ziemia, można na was liczyć, jesteście najlepsi. Ale to wszystko dzieje się w stolicy
małopolskich i polskich Tatr.
polskich Tatr. Tutaj aura w tym roku jest wyjątkowa, ale takie jest Zakopane.
Szanowni Państwo, jest pięknie, bawimy się, tańczymy, przytulamy, celujemy, kochamy, pokazujemy miłość do kraju, pokazujemy uznanie i szacunek dla polskiej reprezentacji i dla wszystkich reprezentacji, które przyjechały do Zakopanego. A teraz czas na trąby i na to, by usłyszeć głos polskich kibiców. Zacznę ja trąbą, a potem zaczniecie wy trąbą, a my będziemy śpiewać. Drodzy Państwo, ja wytrąbię rytm, a wy krzyczycie Polska. Uwaga!
Twoja trąbka im starsza, tym coraz gorzej.
Jak to z trąbką? Dobra. Teraz bardzo proszę Was, na 3-4 ten sam rytm wytrąbicie wy i sami krzyczycie na koniec Polska. Ale równo na 3-4. Przygotowane trąbki? Uwaga. 3-4. I jeszcze raz. 3-4. Bardzo ładnie. A teraz pas wiedeński, cały czas trąbki i w odpowiednich miejscach trąbimy do rytmu muzyki.
Tylko dwóch reprezentantów Słowenii. Pierwszy z nich Alpine Skiing. Jest zadowolony z tego skoku reprezentant Słowenii. Andrzej uzyskał chyba ponad 130 metrów, 134 metra, 104,4 metrów. Łatwiej jest dopiero czwarty. Ladiszek. No i z numerem 51.
Jest już Karol w powietrzu. I to jest dobry skok.
134 metry, no i tak, mamy trzech Austriaków na prowadzeniu. Bacher, Fettner, wtedy przypomnę, trzech Norwegów. Miller, a z numerem 47 reprezentant Austrii. Außenbereich, Manuel Fettner. Szósty w pierwszej serii oficjalnego rankingu.
126 metrów, a teraz będzie dalej Dani Fettner.
I oczywiście po tym skoku w tej drugiej serii oficjalnego treningu Masse Fettner, Lango, Zajcew, Tojtojmani i Qualification Luczka. A kolejny zawodnik na belce startowej to z numerem 50, reprezentant Austrii, Bacher. A więc tym razem Kacper Polasiak nie skakał.
Dobry skok
Bachera. Dobry skok Austriaka. 136 metrów. No i to oznacza prowadzenie jak na razie Austriaka Bachera. Drugi jest Fettner, trzeci Norweg Laniaków będzie na prowadzeniu. Przed nami teraz kolejny z nich, ale ostatni już reprezentant trzeci. Mamy lidera generalnej klasyfikacji Pucharu Świata, Domena Brałca. Skaka w powiet za Domena Brałca. 138,5 metra, 108,5 metra. No i teraz jest pierwszy tak wygrywa drugi oficjalny
Fatih Arda Ipchioglu, super team today, and this is something really good for the smaller nations, right?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we are participating our country also in super team. It is almost new concept, but yeah, it's fun to jump in super team also.
What are your expectations with the Turkish team today?
Yeah, we are more focused on our performance. We are more focused on what we do in the hill, and then we check the results. It's actually now we are concentrating about our mistakes.
Good luck today. Thank you very much, Fatih.
Thanks. Thank you.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the winter sports capital of Poland. Welcome to FIS TV, and indeed welcome to the fantastic atmosphere that we look forward to every season when we come to Zakopane. Nestling in the lower part of the Tatra Mountains, Zakopane is an amazing place. It was never like this in the beginning. In fact, it was mining and metallurgy that were first brought to this part of the world, and it was only really in the late 19th century that the very brilliant climate in this part of the world started to develop what today is a fantastic sports center, but also a spa holiday opportunity. Zakopane, which has been hosting World Cup competitions since 1999, and pretty well all of the great legends in the sport have achieved here. Gregor Schlierenzauer of Austria, the most prolific with 8 victories on this big hill. Adam Mauisch, 7 times a winner. Kamil Stock in the lineup today, 6 victories. Stefan Kraft not in the lineup today, 5 victories. Which brings me to an important piece of information. Those who are actually resting for one reason or another and are not actually participating in today's competition. Ryoyo Kobayashi and Ren Nikaido of Japan not with us, and Philipp Raimund resting a knee, and Felix Hoffmann of Germany also taking the opportunity to rest up. Daniel Schöffenig, the man who won here the World Cup competition 12 months ago, also not included. Naoki Nakamura, another of the Japanese who are not participating here. And so as we look forward to this competition, it's important to just bear those absentees in mind. And the reason I say that is because this Saturday is all about the super team competition. Now, this is the relatively new format, which will be included in the Olympics in Milan Cortina at Predazzo in just a few weeks' time. And it's a format, if you're not familiar with it, which consists of 2-man teams.
Welcome to Zakopane. You have a fantastic foils tournament behind you.
Yeah, the foils were amazing. With the 3rd overall rank, it just was really, really nice. And standing there with Jan was just perfect.
And now you come with a new role, and this is the role of the favorites here in Zakopane.
Well, I don't know if I'm one of the favorites, but I think Domen is the most favorite because he showed in the training jumps he's the best. Now again, I'm behind him, so I hope I can do a little bit, but yeah, I think it stands and falls with him.
Fingers crossed for you here in Zakopane. Thank you, Stefan.
Thanks.
Dankeschön.
Horst Nilgin there, the media attaché for the International Ski Federation, having a little chat with Stefan Embacher, who ended up a brilliant 3rd overall in the Vierschanzen, the 4 hills that finished just last Tuesday. We've hardly had time to catch our breath, but here we are in Zakopane, as we are every year, and look at those terraces and the big hill here with a calculation line at 125 meters, a hill record of 145 meters set by Yukiya Sato in January 2020. And already today we've had some real excitement, because apart from the training, we've had the qualification for tomorrow's individual competition. And congratulations to Manuel Fettner of Austria, coming out on top with 138 meters from gate 12. But perhaps the most exciting part of the morning was Yevhen Marusiak, who hasn't been feeling 100%. and he came out and delivered 145 meters from gate 14, to be fair, and in strong front wind conditions, but that really lit up the arena. Jan Hurl, second in qualification for Austria. Andrzej Lanasek, third for Slovenia. Maxi Ortner in third equal place with Lanasek. And Stefan Embacher, who you just saw, fifth best in qualification. All of them well over 130 meters. Well, just at this moment in time, the wind is favourable, generally, updraft. And Zakopane, as you see the men who are responsible today for conducting the competition. Zakopane, it's a wonderful sports centre. And just a reminder that all the points go towards the Nations Cup, and Austria at the moment, with its consistently strong performances, in the lead by 624 points over Slovenia. Sounds a lot, but Domen Prelc has contributed a huge number of points for the Slovenian team, along with Andrzej Lanasek, to be fair. Well, these are the 14 partnerships. Now, if you're not familiar with the Super Team Cup, let me just take you through the format. The 14 teams will all participate in the first round. And then the 12 with the greatest number of points will advance to the second round. And after the second round, the 8 teams with the greatest number of points will go to the final round. And that's how it works. And here, as ever, the enthusiasm from all over Poland. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is quite an emotional occasion for the Polish fans, not least for Kamil Stoch, his last weekend here competing in the World Cup. It's very much a farewell tour, but inevitably everybody crossing their fingers that he has a superb weekend. Poland represented today by Dawid Kubacki and Kasper Tomasiak. Kasper, the most successful of the Polish boys to date.
The wind is pretty okay, a little bit increasing headwind at the moment, so before last for jumper, jury decided to go one gate lower. We will be ready to start on time, and the hill is in really good shape, so this is all from my side, and we will be ready to start on time, okay?
Okay, very good. We go.
So, as I mentioned, some great sportsmen and women have come from this part of the world. Let me just give you one or two. Wojciech Fortuna, born in Zakopane in 1952, Olympic gold medalist. He was a surprise winner. Kamil Stoch, of course, born here in 1987, triple Olympic gold medalist. And Andrei Bajiel, the first person to ski down Mount Everest without any bottled oxygen, and the first person to ski all 8,000 meter summits in the Karakorum range. So to the competition, sit back with myself, David Goldstrom, and enjoy this. Turkey, the first of our 14 nations. And it's Mohamed Bedir to get us underway from gate 15, front wind. In fact, gate 13, my apologies. 125 meters the calculation line. And as ever on the big hills, 1.8 points the deduction for every meter short of that line. Bonus if you go beyond. And so Bedir collecting 46.5 points for distance. And star points 16s. His partner, who will go in the second leg, Fatih Ipsioglu. And now the pathfinder for the Ukraine. 145 meters. The hill record here. And Yevhen Marusiak just showing that he seems to have thrown away the fatigue that he was saying that's been with him for most of the season. Marusiak, really big numbers, 145 meters in the qualification from gate 14 and 136 meters now, representing Ukraine. Fantastic start. Equaling the hill record of Yukiya Sato in the quali. Francesco Ceccon for Italy. That's almost at the calculation line. The Italians, Bresadola, Insam have been struggling. Francesco Ceccon back into the action. 24 years of age, yet to achieve an individual Winter World Cup point. Fantastic distance bonus points there for the Ukraine. 120 points. 20 points ahead of Italy. That's 11 meters. The advantage. Kazakhstan now. Daniil Vasiliev. Well, everything went wrong there in terms of timing and transition. Disappointing, he's better than that. Really difficult to recover when you lose so many meters. Partnered by Tursun Zhanov today, the second of the Kazakhs, and now Kevin Bickner to open up for the USA. Kevin Bickner and Jason Colby are the partnership for the USA. Well, Kevin Bickner subsiding at the moment. Again, I would have to say that he's a lot better than that performance, the 29-year-old. Top 10 in Villingen on the big hill there last season, but we haven't seen that sort of form so far this season, yet to finish individually in the top 20. And that's short of 120 meters. Again, significant deductions. Jarkko Mata for Finland, very experienced, coming back into the Finnish team. Jarkko Mata being partnered by Antti Aalto today. Another man who will find himself with distance points deductions. Not so many here, 123 meters. But the Ukraine well over 130 meters, Yevhen, and that has really set this competition alight from the get-go. And now Sandro Hausfield, really impressed with this Swiss athlete who's been getting better and better. 25 years of age, finished 17th overall in the Tournai, the Four Hills. That was very respectable, and he's over 125, looking for 130, and I think he's got that and a bit. Indeed, he has 132 meters. Second longest effort. And that's a very good start for the Swiss there. Incidentally, Seaman Oman, 4th in the Continental Cup today, earlier on over in Japan, behind Keiichi Sato, who won the first of the Continental Cup competitions there. And now Jucheve for France. Not bad. Over the calculation line. Just an extra meter, but that's a decent effort. And partnered today by Valentin Foubert, the #1 French athlete in the world of ski jumping at the moment, but Jules from the Club des Sports de Chamonix. Valentin, his teammate from the Club des Sports Courchevel. And now David Kubacki. Never individually won on this hill. He's been 3rd here. Well, just enjoy the atmosphere and the noise. 127.5 meters, the distance for Kubacki. A little bit of encouragement there. And as that effort was taking place, so it was announced that Francesco Ceccon has been disqualified for suit manipulation before the start. So the misery for the Italians continues. That really is bad news because it knocks them out of the competition. Norway now, and Chris Sundal to open up here. Chris Sundal being partnered by Halvor Granerud. Granerud twice a winner on this big Zakopane hill. Moving into the second part of the afternoon, and the temperature dropping and the wind changing, and Borek Sedlak and the jury obliged to call a pause momentarily in this first of 3 competition rounds. Very good first part of the season, and also in the 4 hills for the management teams in the world of ski jumping. They've done a really, really good job. Kristen Brendan of Norway is the technical delegate, supported by Thomas Pochwala, the chief of competition, who has all the local knowledge. Daniel Matkon of the United States is the assistant TD. They're making all the crucial decisions, that trio. And you can see here the potential for this to go from front to back wind. Less pressure as you get further down the hill at this moment with the backwind conditions in that area. But an amazing roar from this crowd. Those Polish vuvuzelas are everywhere. It's interesting, the passion that the Polish fans have for this sport, not just for their sportsmen, but for the sport as well. And they literally do come here and fill the town in their thousands. It's a true party atmosphere. And it is one of those wonderful occasions. People ask me from time to time, where should I go to see a ski jumping competition? Well, there are so many good opportunities, but Zakopane would be amongst them for just the sheer atmosphere. But also some pretty long flights. And the Polish athletes at the moment, they're not at the top of the table. They've got young 18-year-old Kasper Tomasiak leading the way. Kamil Stok, Dawid Kubacki, Paweł Wasek, Maciej Kot, they've all got their individual issues at the moment, most of them struggling, which is a pity with the Olympics less than a month away. But sometimes in this sport, it's really interesting because the lights go out very quickly, but they can also come back on, and that's what the Polish fans will be hoping in terms of their team, and in particularly for Kamil Stok. Well, this super team competition is pretty popular, the 3 rounds of competition, but there's very little room for error. The regular team competition with 4 members of each team, also dependent as an event in the sense that it's a competition in which you're only as strong as your weakest link. But in this particular competition, with only 2 men per country, you can't afford any weak links. Chris Sundal, great picture coming through the compression. Lovely skis from Sundal. And that's 2 or 3 meters beyond the calculation line. Ukraine leading from Switzerland, Poland in 3rd place at the moment. A long way to go. Star mark should be at least 17s, maybe 18s actually. And indeed, the majority are 18s, 128 meters, and Norway up into 3rd place, but coming from gate 15, because of the change of conditions, means that there's a gate deduction of 9.5 points, which equates to 5 meters, and that's relevant. Karl Geiger. Trying to find his way back to the sort of form that has earned him 15 individual World Cup victories in his time. Stefan Horngacher in the picture there. 3rd in the World Cup of 1999 on this hill, Stefan Horngacher, behind Jani Ahonen on that particular day. Ukraine leading Switzerland and Norway. And now Junshiro Kobayashi, his brother Ryoyu, not here, resting. Well, his biggest success came in 2017 in Poland, in Viessmann, the other regular World Cup stop. A victory then. Nothing like that since, no other podiums for 34-year-old Junshiro Kobayashi. And this is the wrong side of that upper red line. Well, are we going to have a real surprise here and see Ukraine lead at the end of the first leg? Could be that way, but Timmy Zeitz, got a good feeling about Timmy Zeitz coming back after suspension during the Viessmann, the 4 hills, representing Slovenia. Well, it's not 130 meters, but it's not far away. This is the man you might remember who was disqualified not once but twice for an illegal length of leg on suit leg The first time, too short by 3 millimeters. The second time, too short by 4 millimeters. Slovenia at the moment 8 meters behind the leaders, Ukraine. And so too Jan Hurl. Keep your eye on this man over the coming weeks and indeed at the Olympics. Just could be coming into a purple patch. I think that illustrates what I was saying. That's over 140 meters. And Jan Hurl for Austria outdistances Marusiak of the Ukraine. And he does it with great aplomb. Excellent style, top marks, and Austria have the initial advantage. Austria take almost a 5-meter advantage ahead of Ukraine. Switzerland in third place ahead of Norway and Poland. And then, as you can see here, Slovenia, France down in 7th place. And the two teams at the moment in jeopardy, Turkey and Italy, with that disqualification to Francesco Ceccon. No points whatsoever. So now we come to the second round for each team, and this the opening of the 3 rounds. Fatih Ipsioglu will be the first man up here for Turkey. New leg, gate 14, so the gate deduction removed. Everybody starting on equal terms. Ipsioglu, front wind back. And getting to 123-ish meters. Maybe 123 and a half. Ipsioglu, who's got one top 20 result in his individual career. The last 2 seasons have been pretty tough for the Turkish duo. And now the Turkish boys, their destiny really in the hands of others, and Ukraine, Vitaly Kalinichenko. I don't expect him to match up to his teammate Marusiak, but this season, his first ever Winter World Cup points. And that's very encouraging. Much better than I thought. Almost 130 meters, and the Ukraine, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be enough to keep Ukraine in the second round. 129.5 meters, that is terrific. Good points total. Yes, the deduction is 12 points, significant for the helpful front wind. Nonetheless, he really has delivered. Now, the Kazakhs are really up against it at the moment. And that is not good news there for Nurshat. Tozhanov in trouble. Less than 100 meters. I should just reiterate that Italy have been disqualified as a result of the suit manipulation before the start by Francesco Ceccon. That is the reason that Bresadola has not been offered the opportunity to take his turn. That's part of the new rules within the sport now, that if a member of the team is disqualified, that knocks out the entire team, not just the individual performance. Jason Colby, United States, the #1 for the USA. Not bad at all. Jason, 19 years of age. Top 10 in Engelberg just before Christmas. And Jason Colby today, 6th actually in the qualification that preceded today's competition. Qualification counting for tomorrow. And 128 meters after the disappointment of his teammate Kevin Bickner. That's a little bit of a pick-me-up for the USA. Anti-alto for Italy. Oh, sorry, for Finland. What am I talking about? For Finland. Better. That's 130 meters. 132. Now this is becoming truly competitive. What's interesting here is Anti-alto, who's had 3 20th place finishes, but this is one of his better efforts. There is inequality throughout the flight phase because of the skis, but the star points are going to be okay. 4 marks of 18. Good points. Push Finland up to 2nd place overall, behind Ukraine at the moment. They're just ahead of the United States, and now Switzerland. Gregor Deschwanden. That's better. He really has not performed to the level we know that he's capable of so far this season. That's well over, as you can see, 134.5 meters. And there's a few athletes now who are really shaking up the table. Switzerland go ahead of the Ukraine. Sandro Hauswirth went ahead of Marusiak in the first leg, and Deschwanden's done the same. And now Valentin Foubert for France. Conditions extremely inviting. Not 130, but respectable. Foubert showing signs there of a little frustration. Top 15 in the Viessmann individual World Cup rankings. Valentin Foubert enjoying his best campaign at the moment. France in 4th place overall, and now the #1 Polish athlete in the sport of ski jumping this season, 18-year-old Kasper Tomasiak. He doesn't disappoint, does he? That's over 130 meters, and those were really urgently needed, necessary points. About 3 meters worth of front wind deduction, but actually the execution was okay. Here we got a chance to have a look at it again. Interesting, the points, 17 out of 20, so the style judges, very eagle-eyed. You can see a little bit of movement through the flight phase and a little bit of instability on the support leg on the landing. Put those all together, and that's why it's really 17s rather than 18s. Poland up to 3rd place. 3.5 meters separating Switzerland, Ukraine, and Poland. Now Halvor Granerud. Twice a winner on this hill. Chris Sundal, his teammate. 128 meters. Granerud, 128.5 meters. 2 individual 7th place finishes, the best he's managed so far this season. Granerud with his eye very much on the Olympic Games. Missed out last time through illness, couldn't go. And Norway in 4th place. Piers Paschke. Now Carl Geiger, his teammate, only 120 meters. Paschke. Well, it's further than Carl Geiger, but Germany at the moment, a little bit of a struggle for them. As I mentioned in the introduction, Philipp Raimund, who wasn't feeling 100% during the 4 hills, has gone home to rest, and his excellent German teammate Felix Hoffmann also absent. Some pain in his left knee and nothing too much to worry about. Junshiro Kobayashi just over 120 meters, but it doesn't really advance the Japanese scores. So Slovenia represented today by Timi Zajc and Andrzej Lanasek. Domen Preuc, who was top 10 in qualification. The 4 hills champion rested today, waiting for the big hill tomorrow, where he goes hunting for an 8th victory of the season. So Andrzej, who's finished 2nd and 3rd individually on this hill, and those are very good points. Timing was super. Transition absolutely spot on, and 134.5 meters. And I would be disappointed if he got anything below 18, or indeed 18.5. Not bad, says Robert Hogoto on the right there, the head coach. And Slovenia go into the lead ahead of Switzerland, only by about 10 centimeters. Ukraine still right up there in the upper echelons. And Stefan Embacher for Austria. Jan Hurley's team made over 140 meters in the first leg. And Embacher keeps the Austrians happy. Pretty well the same distance, well, half a meter less than Lanasek, but good style marks. Only 4.5 points of front wind deduction. And Stefan Embacher, at the age of 19, 3rd in the Vierschanzen, the 4 hills, keeps Austria in the lead. So Austria end the first round ahead of Slovenia by 21 points. That's 11 meters. Switzerland in 3rd place. That's very encouraging. They're very close to Slovenia. There's not a toenail between the 2 of them. And then how fantastic that the Ukraine are in 4th place. But I'll just whiz down to the bottom of the table, because this is the end of the first round. And it means that Kazakhstan and Italy are eliminated. Only the top 12 teams will go through to the second round. So after the Ukraine, Poland, Norway in the top 6 places, but 16 meters separating the top 6. But still a fair way to go.
Uwaga, wszyscy skaczemy! Biało-czerwoni! Teraz!
So just under 10 minutes to the start of the second round.
Ci goście cały czas dziękują Państwu, polskim kibicom, dziękują Kamilowi Stochowi.
So just a moment for me to yet again add my congratulations to Nika Preuc, winner in Lubno in Slovenia. An important milestone for her to win on Slovenian snow, ahead of the very excellent Austrian Lisa Eder, runner-up, and Selina Freitag of Germany in third place on the podium. Nika Preuc, the defending World Cup champion, leading in the World Cup rankings ahead of Nozomi Maruyama of Japan, who had such a fantastic start to the season. Lisa Eder's consistency has helped her stay in third place overall. Abby Straight of Canada in fourth spot in the overall table. So we now look forward to the second round. And in this second round, the nations know that if they want to get into the final round, then they have to end up in the top 8 positions. So just looking at the current state of play here, and there's no doubt that France, Japan, and the United States and Turkey are the countries in jeopardy in terms of elimination. So they're really going to have to improve in this next phase. So 5 minutes to go to the start of the final round. Sandro Petile, the director of the International Ski Federation, has been very keen to try to keep these intervals to an absolute minimum. However, as you would understand, the boys have to get their way back up to the top of the hill. The servicemen required to make sure that their skis are in good shape, and they also would like and try to take advantage of the video that their coaches are taking to just check and see where and how they can improve, and a lot to do in a very short space of time.
Słuchajcie, mamy 2 minuty. Chcemy zrobić największego TikToka w historii. Chodzi o to, żeby nikt nie trąbił, nikt się nie odzywał, wszyscy na baczność. I uwaga, chodzi o tego TikToka. Najpierw podnosimy prawą rękę w górę, prawą rękę, ale to musi być na hasło. Uwaga, w takim momencie. Na hasło music, prawa ręka. Później na drugie music, lewa. Później znowu prawa, lewa, i tańczymy.
So just picking up on a little bit of housekeeping. Very interesting to see Marusiak of Ukraine. He said that he'd been feeling pretty rotten after the 2 Four Hills competitions in Germany, and was really disappointed that his body really wasn't feeling the way he would wish, and that he's in fact felt pretty tired for much of the season, and he's put a little bit of that down to the heavy summer training. But the indications are really good today that he is going to be competitive, not only tomorrow, already showing that he's competitive today, but in the coming weeks, and also leading up to and including the Olympics. It will be a real fillip for the Ukrainian team to see him in tip-top form, and at the moment things look pretty good. Ukraine overall in 4th place, which is as high as we've ever seen them in a team competition. They are 15 meters behind, but they're ahead of Poland, Norway, Finland, Germany and France, and that is significant. And I should say well done to Kalinichenko, the other half of the partnership, because he's actually held up his part of the deal between himself and Marusiak. Marius Lindvik is back here for Norway after pulling out of the Four Hills. And as I mentioned, both Stefan Kraft and Daniel Schäfernig after the Four Hills. 2 great Austrians deciding to take a rest. And inevitably the Olympics, being less than a month away, has concentrated a lot of minds and made a number of the coaches make arguably different decisions they would take to a normal season. And it'll be very interesting to see who actually goes out to Sapporo to compete in a couple of weeks' time. The Men's Continental Cup is there at the moment in Sapporo. Keiichi Sato is successful today ahead of Robin Pedersen of Norway, and those points actually give Robin Pedersen the lead in the Continental Cup. Nicholas Bachlinger of Austria in 3rd place, Simon Amann 4th for Switzerland, of course. And Noriaki Kasai, a little disappointing, 35th today in that ranking. This is a totally amazing place. When you come out of this arena and you start to walk back down the road towards the center of Zakopane, on your left and right are some absolutely fantastic traditional restaurants. And this is a amazing holiday venue. Hiking in the low Tatras, we're nestling in the low Tatras, but if you go up to the high Tatras, then an awful lot of mountaineering is popular there. Actually, the climbing is really adventurous. Well, where else would you get an atmosphere like this from the home fans? It really is extraordinary. I haven't had at the moment an official number for the spectators. All I can tell you is that there's hardly, well, as you say, a blade of grass, if you could see a blade of grass. There's hardly a spare spot to stand on here. But we're getting ready now for the second round. Almost ready to go. Wind conditions at the moment much quieter for this second round. The strength has really dropped to about 0.3 meters per second. That's a significant difference between the first and second round. At this moment, as I'm speaking, there was a little bit of front wind up over the knoll, so that's inviting and helpful. And I still think we have every chance of seeing some decent flights over 130 meters. So we should be ready to go. According to my watch, we're 2 or 3 minutes late. No reason for that given. Other than the jury just determining which gate we should come out of. So if you're just joining us, very well welcome on FIS TV to this Super Team Cup competition here in Zakopane. At the end of the first leg, the 14 teams reduced to just 12 with the elimination of Kazakhstan and Italy. Leading the way at the end of the first round, Austria, who are 11 meters ahead of Slovenia, with Switzerland an equal deficit. And then the Ukraine, fantastic performance by them. They are 15 meters off the money. Poland, the host nation, in 5th place, virtually the same points as Ukraine. And then Norway occupying 6th ahead of Finland. Germany in 8th place ahead of France and Japan. United States 11th and Turkey in 12th place. These are the two-man partnerships who will represent the 12 nations. And only the best 8 teams will advance to the final round after this second leg. So gate 15, first man up here, Mohamed Bedir for Turkey. They need a miracle to stay alive in this competition. And it would be lovely to see them do just that, because they've been having a really tough time and a confidence boost wouldn't be out of place, but that's barely over 100 meters. So Muhammed, ski flying record holder for the Turkish boys, moves away, and Yevhen Marusiak now for the Ukraine. 136 excellent meters, 145 in the qualification for tomorrow. What a day he's having. And that just shows you how cheese and chalk are opposite, because that is less than the calculation line. He misses by 2 meters. 2 fantastic flights, and now suddenly in trouble. So going to be down to his partner Kalinachenko to keep them alive in the competition. And Kevin Bickner for the United States really needs to raise his game. But that's a second effort short of the calculation line. Slightly better than the first one. But the first one came out of gate 13. This is out of gate 15 with more in-run speed. And Kevin Bickner at the moment struggling. Little backwind compensation there of almost 2 meters. Ukraine staying ahead of the United States. And once again, little pause here because the wind is making the conditions unmanageable, really. Jalkamato for Finland. Finland out of the top 6 places at the end of the first round. They need something really special. And that, unfortunately, is exactly the opposite. That is many, many meters short of the calculation line, all of 10. And so instead of 60 points for distance, only 42. That's what he's lost, 18 points. $18 points, 10 meters, the loss in distance. Sandro Hausbeert. Sandro, very good opening effort, 132 meters. 3 marks of 18 out of a possible 20 from the style judges. Can he double up? He was okay coming off the table. Not as far this time. The conditions have changed a little bit. The front wind strength that was in the first round all the way down the hill, that has somewhat evaporated. The wind strength towards the middle and lower part of the hill, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 meters per second. Not as much pressure under the skis. Nonetheless, a couple of disappointing efforts there. Switzerland, they've managed to stay ahead of the Ukraine by just about 4 meters, and now Jucheve for France. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked either, and that doesn't help the French cause. It puts more pressure on Valentin Foubert, who is the other member of the French partnership. France weren't in the top 6 at the halfway stage, and only 8 teams to go through to the second phase, and France at the moment down in 5th place. Switzerland leading overall, leading the Ukraine. David Kubatsky. 127.5 meters the first flight. This is from 2 gates higher, gate 15.
I czy to jest skok, który da Polsce prowadzenie?
Poland, who were in 5th place at the end of the last leg. And you might just see the little streamers on the side of the hill there. They're relatively quiet at the moment. The wind strength has dropped. 121.5 meters, though, to be fair, the conditions are still inviting. Now, what can Chris Sundal do? The Norwegians languishing at the end of the first leg, down in 6th place. Well, that's at least over the calculation line into bonus point territory. That's a little better than one or two who have preceded the Norwegians. So this will help a bit. Switzerland leading from Poland. Ukraine in 3rd place, 4 meters separating those three nations at the moment. So that's very tight. And then there's a big gap down to America, but Norway now take over at the top of the table. 2 meters ahead of Switzerland. So Norway, Switzerland, Poland and Ukraine separated by just 6 meters. Carl Geiger. Germany need some big points and they haven't got them.
Jeszcze dla Karla Geigera za daleko. 123 metry.
Fifth place overall. Some 17 meters off the lead. And Junshiro Kobayashi now for Japan. Now, to keep the Japanese in this competition, 144.5 meters required to take the lead. That's almost at the hill record. And Junshiro capitulates 114 meters. Norway leading from Switzerland, Poland in 3rd, Ukraine in 4th. And at the moment, those are the 6 nations. But still, Slovenia and Austria to come. So what can Timmy Zeitz do? Slovenia in 2nd place at the end of the first of the 3 competition legs. And even he struggles to get to the calculation line. I don't think he's quite made it. Andrzej Lenasek, the other part of the Slovenian partnership. Slovenia going to 2nd overall, less than 2 meters behind Norway. And now there are 5 teams covered by 6 meters, but it's down to Jan Hurl. Wearing that yellow bib, Austria, the country that leads the Nations Cup, and Jan Hurl in fine form. 141 meters from gate 15 in the first round. Here we are, gate 15 again. 90 kilometers in-run speed, and he is in superb form, and that's 140 again. Austria maintaining their advantage here. Norway up to 2nd place, Slovenia down to 3rd. Switzerland in 4th place, and then Poland and the Ukraine. And after Ukraine, Germany and the USA. Those are the top 8 nations. Finland, France, Japan, and Turkey all in the relegation zone. And there it is, Austria, thanks to Jan Hurl and Stefan Embacher. At the moment, they are 28 meters ahead of Norway. 30 ahead of Slovenia, similarly ahead of Switzerland. And then Poland, 31 meters back, and Ukraine, 34 meters back. And really the competition looking as if it's going to be between those countries, between those six. But 34 meters, that's quite a gap. Austria, absolutely superb. And these are the men who will represent each country on the second leg in this second round. Well, I haven't seen a target for Ipsioglu, but it would have to be massive. Gate 16, more in-run speed, that's worth an extra kilometre. And Ipsioglu at 123 metres.
123 meters.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to keep them alive in the competition. A little untidy on the landing there, but 17's not too bad, I suppose. And just to give you an idea, Austria ahead of Turkey by 27 meters, even though that's one man less than Turkey. Kalinichenko for Ukraine. Good effort the first flight, 129.5 meters. Well, he hasn't quite got to the calculation line. So unfortunately, a little subsidence from the Ukraine in this second leg, or second round, I should say. $441 points, the team total. And Jason Colby now almost 140 meters required to push the United States up into the lead, and that's a really good effort. Now, those are valuable points for the United States, really valuable.
129.5 meters.
United States were absolutely in the danger zone, a risk of not qualifying, and this just might be enough to keep them in the final round. Jason Colby has been a revelation this season, and he flies the flag for America ahead of his teammates Kevin Bickner, Andy Orlov, Eric Belshaw. United States behind Ukraine by 10 meters. Anti-alto for Finland. Nice skis. Very nicely done. This is very encouraging. That's over 130 meters. And I wonder whether this is a signpost of something really good that's going to happen tomorrow for this man. As I mentioned in the first round, yet to break into the top 20. Well, he's been 20th 3 times, but to actually get into the top 15, top 10, 133 meters there for Finland. What a great effort from Anti-Alto to keep Finland in the competition. Others have fallen short, and he has prospered. Gregor Deschwanden, 134.5 meters, really pumped up, and that's over 130 meters. And the wind at the moment as I mentioned, relatively quiet. This will put Switzerland for the moment into first place. And again, worth noting these two efforts from Gregor Viessmann today. Valentin Foubert for the French. Breath of backwind. Nonetheless, that's not bad at all. That's almost 130 meters. That's a definite improvement. It's not just coming out of gate 16, but there's no doubt that the extra kilometer of speed is helping. The distance is better, the style is better. The French into 5th place, but only 8 teams go into the final round, and now Kasper Tomasiak. A huge crescendo of noise for this young man who is surely going to keep the host nation alive. Oh yes, almost celebrating before he touched down. Over 130 meters. Everything about this was much better. Position on the in-run, transition off the table. It all worked this time. And there's some backwind compensation. And he really has given Poland valuable points. Poland ahead of Switzerland and the Ukraine. Poland almost 3 meters up on Switzerland, almost 20 up on Ukraine, and now Granerud. Look pretty smooth. It's fair, but it's not fantastic, and it's solid without being too threatening there for Granerud and Norway. Go second behind Poland by 10 centimeters. So Poland, Norway, Switzerland very close together. And now Piers Paschke for Germany. And look at that monster target, 147 meters. That would require a new hill record. Not to be Piers Paschke, and Germany are well down the pack. Poland leading Norway and Switzerland. But still Japan, Slovenia and Austria to come in this second round. Germany down in 6th place. 3 nations to come, so Germany aren't safe. United States and France in 7th and 8th. Now it becomes absolutely crucial. Tomofumi Naito, this 32-year-old who has announced himself in the World Cup, got a top 10 finish earlier on in the season. That was his first ever result of that quality, but this is short of 120 meters now for Japan.
117.5 meters.
Without Ryoyo Kobayashi, without Ren Nakaido, without Naoki Nakamura. And Japan down in 10th place. And now about to be eliminated. Andrzej Lanasek for Slovenia. Vying for second place at the end of the last leg. 130-ish for Paschke, for Lanasek, I should say. Star marks are always helpful. Lanasek, 9 times out of 10, is getting 18, sometimes 19 out of 20. Backwing compensation, Slovenia into the lead. However, Austria to come, and it's the exciting talent of Stefan Embacher, who hails from the Kitzbühel Ski Club, to take his turn and keep Austria ahead. They were 28 meters ahead of everybody at the end of the last leg, and Embacher does not let the side down. Around about 130 meters, and Austria will continue their lead. Their grip is really secure on this competition. Slovenia, Poland, Norway, and then Switzerland, the Ukraine and Finland. And in 8th place, Germany, by their fingernails, have survived. And in a moment, you'll see the teams that are eliminated. Those are in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th places, and there they are. The USA, France, Japan and Turkey, we have to say goodbye to them. But Germany only just escaping. Germany, 100.7 points in 8th place. In the United States, 106.2. That close.
A seria finałowa rozpocznie się punktualnie 17:29. Michał, tak, to daję wam głos. Dziękujemy, dziękujemy. Kochani, pamiętajmy o partnerach.
So at the end of the second round, Slovenia 30 meters behind Austria. Poland, similarly, that's their deficit. And Norway, there's really nothing between Slovenia, Poland and Norway. Then there's a gap of 3 meters, 33 meters to Switzerland, who still have a chance to strike for the podium. Ukraine, a difficult second round. They've slipped to 48 meters, the deficit. Finland in 7th place, 54 meters, I think it is. Indeed, and Germany, 56 meters.
Dyrektora Wojciecha Gumnego, którzy przygotowali tę imprezę jak zawsze na najwyższym światowym poziomie.
So the second round in about 10 minutes from now, and it's Austria, Slovenia, Poland, Norway, Switzerland, Ukraine, Finland and Germany who will advance to the final round.
Dziękujemy Kamilowi za całą jego przygodę.
Tam już kilka tysięcy podziękowań, tam już kilkaset zdjęć, ale też dziękujemy Marce 4F. Specjalna strefa, z którą spotkamy się. Kto chce spotkać się z nami, mamy czapki od 4F, ponad 10 tysięcy czapek dla kibiców. Dla kibiców, a już za chwilę nowator, ale zanim nowator i zanim nasz hymn, czyli Lecce życie, moi drodzy, będziemy
robić strobopop.
So we'll take a little pause for a few moments as the boys get up to the top of the hill again and prepare for this final round. Back for that in about 7 or 8 minutes.
Lewo, prawo, chodzą światła, wielka krokiew rozświetla się mocą waszych telefonów, waszych reflektorów. A już nowator jest z nami, także za chwilę przez życie leć, a najpierw strobopop. Schowajcie telefony i na hasło, jak powiem, strobopop, lewo, prawo, jedziemy.
Schowajcie, prosimy was, schowajcie telefony na razie. Niziutko. Potrzebują 4 razy. Na hasło strobopop.
I uwaga, Zakopane! 3, 4!
Jesteście najlepsi, ale widać, że wasze telefony nie wytrzymują temperatury i chyba się rozładowują. I tych latarek trochę dzisiaj mniej, ale jutro na pewno będzie petarda. A teraz
Przez życie leć, czyli hymn tegorocznego Pucharu Świata. Majki Nowator, przypominamy, 4 ruchy. Przez życie dalej leć. Ręce szeroko. Jak gwiazda na niebie świeć. U góry pokazujemy gwiazdy, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do...
głowę do góry i 2 dłonie wtedy do góry. Palce wskazujące jak Kamil Stoch, kiedy zdobywał medale Igrzysk Olimpijskich i medale Mistrzostw Świata. Lecimy, Majki Nowator!
Wszyscy gotowi? Przez życie leć, lecimy! Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry. Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry. Sekundy, minuty, kwadranse, godziny, czy jakbyś codziennie miał urodziny, weekendy, miesiące, kwartały i lata, swe chwile pielęgnu. Jak koniec świata, marzenia, fantazje, podróże przez Azję, zanurkuj pod ciebie, łap każdą okazję. Sukcesy, wspomnienia, wciąż kręci się scena, nie wszystko a nic, masz do stracenia. Miłości, wolności, kłania się w pas, ręce do góry na 2, na raz. Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry. Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry.
Halo, halo ziemia! Co się tu dzieje? Nie pijcie tyle gorącej czekolady!
Każdy z nas pisze i każdy wypełnia swą własną niszę. Każdy jest piękny, każdy bogaty, a życie to nie jest towar na rap. Lecimy siostro, lecimy bracie, legendę swoją, bo przynajmniej poznacie miłości, wolności. Kłania się w pas, ręce do góry na 2.
Ziemia!
Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry. Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry. Tak jest! Przez życie leć,
Wszystkie ręce w górę, podnieście dla nich!
jak gwiazda.
Proszę, podnieście ręce!
Oj, 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 oj.
Polska!
Przez życie leć.
Lecimy!
Oj, 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 jak gwiazda świeć. I wszyscy głośno!
Leć!
Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś. Jeszcze raz! Przez życie dalej leć, jak gwiazda na niebie świeć, a gdy niebo przysłonią ci chmury, głowę wysoko unoś do góry.
Nowator! Majki! Przez życie leci!
Miłości, wolności, kłania się w pas, ręce do góry na 2, na raz!
Wielka trąba, panowie, jesteście niesamowici! Moi drodzy, trąba dla nich, ale też pamiętajcie, czas na okrzyk!
Idziemy na dół zaraz? Ale my idziemy na... Idziecie? No my pójść. Jak chcecie, to sobie. Ej, to jest haczek. I się tam było. No teraz jedziemy. Ej, bo pan chce.
Raz dzisiaj, bardzo głośno, Ziemia, Wenus, Mars, Księżyc i Słońce. Uwaga! Wielka! Wielka! Wielka trąba, tak? Już za chwilę seria finałowa. Pomagamy Polakom. Zapraszamy do strefy 4F. Będziemy tam dzisiaj po ceremonii i będziemy tam jutro. A teraz tańczcie! Audi! Dziewczyny! I Herman!
Well, once again, welcome to the winter sports capital of Poland, Zakopane, for the final and third round of this first super team competition, the first one ever to be staged here in Zakopane. And the countries ranked according to their points totals from the last round, going in reverse order. So Germany, and then Finland, the Ukraine, Switzerland, Norway, Poland, Slovenia and Austria. Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to FIS TV. Delighted to have your company. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. We're on the big hill here. And, well, I suppose this is one of these occasions where I would say that Austria, with a 30-meter lead, it's their competition to lose. A wonderful partnership between Jan Hurl and Stefan Hembacher has kept them in command of this competition. Now, conditions have changed a little bit in as much that the front wind that we had for the first two rounds, that's evaporated. And now we've got a gentle backwind at the moment. Less than a meter per second, still inviting conditions, but not quite as inviting when Yevhen Marusiak in qualification earlier today went out to 145 meters to equal the hill record. So this is the final round. Karl Geiger and Piers Paschke, the partnership for Germany. Karl, who's been struggling really since the get-go, and that is a little better. Of all his efforts today, that is the best. He was struggling around 120 meters, but this is 130. And when you get the transition timing right and you carry your speed forward and you're that quick into the flight position, that's what you achieve, and that is so much better. Karl Geiger, who at his best is one of the best in the world, but Geiger so far has really struggled this season. Jarkko Matter for Finland. So advantage Germany. Germany, thanks to Karl Geiger, 12.5 meters further down the hill. That's an awful lot of difference in terms of distance points. And their points, I'm afraid, that Finland have given away, both in distance and in style. And Germany go ahead of Finland. Next to come, the Ukraine, Yevhen, 145 meters in qualification, but in this competition, 136 meters. The first effort was super. The second one, 123 meters, and that's also in the same region. Coming out of gate 17, the jury, good decision, front wind turning to back wind, and therefore increasing the in-run speed, 91 kilometers. But it's all gone in the wrong direction after a great start to the day. Ukraine staying ahead of Germany and Finland. Nonetheless, they keep ahead of Germany by just 80 centimeters. Now, Sandra Hausfield for Switzerland. Looks as if it had enough height, but in fact, that's just the wrong side of the calculation line. But Switzerland were ahead of the Ukraine. And Sandro, who's really announced himself in the World Cup, getting his first Winter World Cup points. He's had a couple of top 20 finishes. Has really pleased Bine Norcic, his head coach, with the improvement that he's made. And Switzerland indeed do stay handsomely ahead of the Ukraine and Germany. Next to go, Norway. Norway lying in fourth place at the end of the second round. And there's very little between Slovenia, Poland, Norway and Switzerland. Chris Sundal. Pretty even numbers. 128 meters in the first flight, 126.5 in the second flight, and that's where he is again. Now, Norway were ahead of Switzerland, and they'll stay ahead of Switzerland. Conditions were a little tougher for Sundal. Compensation is useful, 6 meters worth of it, and Norway suddenly find themselves 5-6 meters ahead of Switzerland. So a little breathing space. However, as I said, there's nothing between Slovenia, Poland and Norway. Less than a meter covering them at the end of the last round. David Kubacki getting a huge roar from this Polish crowd, but needed more. Advantage Norway. Poland were third at the end of the last round. Norway were fourth. It could well be that Slovenia, Poland, Norway and Switzerland, they're fighting for second and third places on the podium. And Poland, predictably, they dropped behind Norway, but they're still in touch. They're only 3.5 meters behind. Timmy Zeitz now for Slovenia. Yet to get over 130 meters. Backwind a little strong. And that's around the calculation line at 125 meters. This is all very tight and competitive. Sundal had 126.5. This is 126. And Slovenia slipped down. They are 10 centimeters behind Norway. So Norway at the moment have moved from fourth to first, but Austria now and Jan Hurl. 141 meters both times, round one and round two. Would be remarkable if he can hit 140 again. That was too big an ask, but he's over 130 meters. And that will be enough to tell you that Austria, with one leg to go, are very much in command. Norway and Slovenia in podium positions. Poland just behind. Switzerland in 5th place, ahead of the Ukraine, Germany and Finland. Absolutely delighted to see that Ukraine are solidly not just in this final, but they're certainly not going to get the wooden spoon, not the way that they're performing at the moment. And of course, these points that Austria are racking up here, you can see 66 points. The advantage, that when translated into distance, is a 36-meter cushion. Call it 37 meters, actually. Likewise for Slovenia, 37 meters back. So nothing between Norway and Slovenia in 2nd and 3rd places. Poland 40 meters back. Switzerland 42 meters back. So 3 meters separating Norway, Slovenia, Poland and Switzerland. And then the Ukraine and Germany locked together ahead of Austria.
Drodzy Państwo, my wracamy już do ostatniego aktu dzisiejszego dnia. Przed nami seria finałowa, ostatnia.
So, second leg, final man to come here. So, this is the decisive round. And as I said right at the beginning of this 3rd and final round, very much Austria's to lose, and I'd be absolutely amazed if they did. Gate 19 now from the jury. Backwind, a little bit stronger, over 1 meter per second. Piers Paschke. Lovely skis from Piers. Better from Karl Geiger, better from Paschke. Over 130 meters. Well, the German boys have just sort of woken up at the last minute, a little too late. On the other hand, this is the last competitive jump before tomorrow's individual competition, so they will take a little bit of confidence from this. Nice skis, good spacing. Got to be 17.5, even 18 for Paschke. And you can see he's a little bit cheered up from that. That's really good. So Germany set out. Piers. Well, that confused the heck out of me as well. So now Piers Paschke to take his turn.
A Słoweńcy, nie byle kogo, bo Angela Miśka.
Szacun dla polskich kibiców, że potrafią w takiej temperaturze stworzyć taką gorącą atmosferę. Skaczemy!
Well, where the blue and the red carpets meet, that is the calculation line. The hill size is the bottom red line, which the jury use as a guide for safety. ...140 meters is the hill size. Stefan Horngacher on the left there. As I mentioned, he's been on the podium here in his ski jumping career days. Never won here, but he did finish third. Coincidentally, Andy Widhersel, the head coach of the Austrian team, he was third here in 1999 behind Martin Schmidt of Germany, who had a couple of successes here in that particular season. Lasse Ottersen, who is the director of Nordic Combined for the International Ski Federation, he finished third in one of the two competitions here in 1999 as well. So now Piers Paschke. Well, that's still close to 130 meters. That's certainly his best effort of the day, and both he and Karl Geiger have raised their game a little bit. It isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. But they started this final round, of course, in 8th place. So their total, 688.7 points. They're now about to take them on. Vitaly Kananichenko.
Dla najlepszych kibiców.
Well, I'm really impressed with this man's sequence. 129.5, then 123.5, but he's come back with 128.5 meters in backwind conditions, about 5 meters worth of compensation. He's held most of his style marks together, and they are rightly delighted. Kananichenko has helped the Ukraine. The Ukraine just behind Germany at the end of the day. Only a meter of a difference, a meter and a half. Gregor Deschwanden over 130 meters in the first two flights. And that makes it 3 out of 3. And Deschwanden's having one of his better days. I wonder whether this bodes well for Gregor Deschwanden for tomorrow's individual competition. 3 times 10th in individual World Cup competitions, but particularly disappointing in the Vierschanzen, outside the top 20 in the Four Hills ranking. But that is much better. Switzerland go into first place for the moment at least. And now Kasper Tomasiak for the Polish crowd. Oh, yes. Oh, that'll do very nicely from Kasper Tomasiak. Vying for the podium. And so little between Norway, Slovenia, Poland and Switzerland. Well, this is going to keep Poland ahead of the Swiss. In distance, in style, Deschwanden was good, this was better. And an extra 5 meters of backwind compensation points there, 10 points. 397.7, 741.8 the lead. and Poland. Germany dropped to third and Ukraine to fourth. And now Andrzej Lanasek. Well, there was only a metre or so advantage that Andrzej had over the Polish team. And that is fantastic. That's 140 metres. Gate 19, in-run speed 92 kilometres. It's making all the difference. Andrzej keeping Slovenia on the podium. Just two nations to come. So Slovenia take the advantage. They lead the competition. Poland in second place, Switzerland third. Now Granerud. He's got to get over 130 meters at least. And he hasn't. And Norway losing their way. Granerud cannot keep them on the podium at the moment. Tomasiak and Andrzej Lanasek for Poland and Slovenia respectively. They have answered the question, but I'm afraid Granerud, twice a winner individually on this hill. It slipped away from Norway. They'd moved up at the end of the last leg into a podium position. They've now dropped to third, but Austria to come. And to finish off the competition, the very exciting Stefan Embacher. You can see his distances, 134, 130. Can he make it 3 efforts over 130 meters? Indeed he can. That's right on 130 meters. And it means that Austria are the winners of this first ever Super Team Cup at Zakopane. And they've done it quite comfortably. Slovenia will finish as runners-up, and Poland will be third. Norway fourth, ahead of Switzerland and Germany. Ukraine and Finland finish up in 8th place. Well, really nice to see Dawid Kubacki animated, clearly fired up, which is good. He's not had the easiest campaign. And so Austria have been in total command of this competition. Have a look at the difference there. Austria, they win this by over 25 meters. Slovenia and Poland, well, at the end, Slovenia getting the better of Poland by 9 meters. And Norway in 4th place, missing out by about 4 meters, the 3rd step on the podium. Andy Wenzel in picture there, head coach for the Austrians. He has a terrific squad. And although Daniel Schiffernig and Stefan Kraft are absent, Jan Hurl, Stefan Embacher can do the job. Waiting in the wings also is Jonas Schuster. You'll see him tomorrow in the individual competition. And also Manuel Fettner, who won the qualification today. I wonder whether that's a good omen for him, still looking for that elusive first Winter World Cup success. Now there are a few technical checks to carry out here, and it's worth noting that there are yellow cards against Finland and Norway as teams, so they have to be very careful in terms of their equipment to make sure that everything is in good order in future. The 2 yellows equal a red, and that would mean missing the next competition. Well, the crowd have been absolutely amazing here. The atmosphere has been just electric. It always is here, but even today seems to be even more exceptional. And tomorrow, the individual competition, 4 o'clock Central European time, so 10 minutes before, just to set everything up. That will be a very special day, not least for Kamil Stock, who will be competing here in Zakopane, his home hill, for the very last time. Poland, well, they've done very well to be on the podium here. I think that's fantastic for the fans, and well done to Kasper Tomasiak on the left of the picture, David Kubacki on the right. Slovenia represented by Timi Zajc and Szelanasek.
And the winner
And the winning partnership, Stefan Embacher and Jan Hurl. And I do have a really, really strong feeling that Jan Hurl over the next weeks and at the Olympic Games is really going to come into his own. So this is the presentation of the podium achievers, and then there'll be the usual technical equipment checks from Matthias Haffele before the official presentation. But I'm really pleased that the Polish fans have been rewarded with their team being on the podium at the end of the day. Not an easy thing for them to do. And they've been well beaten by Austria, but so has every other team. But they've held their place pretty well with the Slovenians and the Norwegians and the Swiss. Andy Wenzel, you can see the pride that he takes in these team efforts. And rightly so. Well, Austria were some 664 points ahead of Slovenia before the day started, and that will increase a little bit. Japan, who were in third place ahead of Germany, will fall away. Norway will make a little ground, so will Poland. But Austria very much in charge of the Nations Cup at this moment. So there you can see the photographers going out and the podium being readied. Now the technical equipment checks take a little bit longer. Here's Stefan Effenbacher.
Outstanding performance today, really.
Yeah, thank you. It was a perfect day. It was many jumps today, but yeah, I can show you 5 good jumps. So the first round and the second round, it was a perfect jump. So yeah, super proud on Stefan. He made a good job today. So yeah, it's a very nice day.
And this brings good expectations for the individual competition tomorrow, for sure.
Yeah. So I hope I can show you another 2 good jumps tomorrow. So I think tomorrow is a little bit windy and snowfall. So yeah,
But all I need a good 2 jumps. So yeah, that's the goal.
Fingers crossed for you, Jan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jan Hurl, 141 meters in the first round, 141 meters in the second round. Partnering Stefan Embacher to success here. And Jan Hurl, who's got this, in a way, frustrating record. 5 victories, 14 times he's been runner-up. Runner-up in the Tournée in the Four Hills this season, as he was last season. So ever so close, knocking on the door. But he's such a good athlete that you have to believe that he's going to turn these second places into victories sooner rather than later. And I'm thinking that that sooner is pretty close. Jan Hurl, 27 years of age. Home hill is Bischofshofen. And he was second to Manuel Fettner in the qualification earlier today, so he really is on form. And there, 664 points, the lead that Austria have over Slovenia in the Nations Cup. In the World Cup, although Ryoyo Kobayashi isn't here, he is in second place. Ren Nakaido also absent in third place. Philip Raimund in fourth place. Andrzej Lanasek is in fifth place, so a chance for him tomorrow, if he can get some big points, to move up the World Cup rankings. Gregor Deschwanden in picture there. A much, much better day. This is a very positive result for him, and the big question is, can he take that form into tomorrow's individual competitions? If he does, then he's going to be in the top 10.
Dziękujemy wszystkim tym, którzy ciężko pracują, abyśmy mogli tutaj tak pięknie środzić od ponad 20 lat.
A dziękuję Państwu za dziś. Dariusz Wiedźmuch-Oślęzak
I oczywiście Michał Majki Siecko.
czyli Białe Supporters. Thank you very much. Dankeschön. Dziękujemy Państwu. Zapraszamy na jutro, a już za chwilę ceremonia.
Andrzej Lanasek, you saw momentarily there. Tomorrow he'll be setting out for his third win of the season. He's been second and third here. Now, inevitably, with 6 men to check, these technical checks from Matthias Haffele will take just that little bit longer. And just a reminder that after Zakopane, it's across to Sapporo for the big hill there. And of course, with the success of Ryoyo Kobayashi and Ren Nakaido becoming a World Cup winner for the first time, one hopes that there'll be a really good atmosphere in the Sapporo Stadium, which is a huge stadium. It takes an awful lot of filling. But Sapporo is a major city on the North Island, and let's hope that it persuades the fans to come out. The women will be going to Japan, of course, where they'll be appreciating the achievements of Nozomi Maruyama. So 4 o'clock tomorrow here in Zakopane for the big hill competition. Today's Super Team Cup has been the 8th of this discipline. The first 7 were won by Slovenia, who won 3 of them. Germany won 2, Poland won 1, and Austria won 1. So Austria now 2 up. And Austria have never failed to reach the podium in this particular discipline. Well, tomorrow is going to be all about the individual competition. Domen Preutz, winner of the 74th edition of the Four Hills, just last Tuesday, will be back in action. He was top 10 in qualification today.
11,5 stopnia na minusie. 85% wilgotności.
Domen has been mega consistent. He's been on the podium in each of the last 12 World Cup events. 7 times victorious, 3 times a runner-up, twice third. It's a remarkable record. And as I mentioned, this will be a farewell to Zakopane for Kamil Stock. But all of that is tomorrow, just waiting and hoping that there are no adverse findings in the technical procedures. It's interesting, the technical rules that have been stiffened up as a result of the suit manipulation scandal of last season. But in a strange way, it could be seen as a blessing in disguise, in as much that the rules are really being applied strictly, which ensures fair competition, and also with the reduction of the number of suits that the athletes can use throughout the season, limited to 9. It also addresses sustainability and the fact that some teams are more powerful, they have more money, yet by adjusting the rules, it brings a much more equal opportunity for some of the smaller nations. Absolutely delighted that Ukraine made the final round. It's a real milestone. And the way that Kalinichenko and Marusiak have performed today, they should be very, very proud and pleased with themselves. Marusiak just faded a little bit in rounds 2 and 3, but all credit to Kalinichenko. He really kept things together, very steady throughout the whole competition. And given that this is the first season that he scored World Cup points, really impressive that he managed to just hold everything together. Real focus, and they get the reward of being in the final. And many racked brain has gone on to see how we could speed up the examination process of the equipment. That means literally everything: boots, skis, bindings, suits, helmet, gloves, goggles, everything gets checked. And the suits, of course, these days, they have chips in the chest and the back and the legs, and those chips are checked before anyone can take a jump, and they ensure that the suit is exactly the same suit in entirety. The suit is the one that was passed and approved before the competition started. Once upon a time, there was a way to change one of the panels. The suit's made up of 9 panels, and there was a way to change it. But now with the chips, you can't do that because there's a chip in every panel. So we'll be bringing you all the competitions from Japan, and just a reminder that tomorrow, of course, the women are in action in Lubno, that very passionate centre for ski jumping. The women are there in the World Cup with Nika Preutz looking to achieve another victory. And of course, after the men go to Japan, the women follow. Competitions also in China. And then we all unite in Villingen just before the Olympics. And that will be very special on the big hill in Villingen. Both the men and the women in action. There's a deal of enthusiasm to get this presentation underway. But we can't do anything. Well, this is good. Sandro Petile on the right there leading the athletes, and clearly Matthias Haffele is satisfied that everything is correct.
Jetzt fangen wir. Viessmann, Fiesberger, Skispringen in Zakopane. Siegerehrung an. Die drei beste Superteams. Miejsce trzecie.
So in third place,
representing reprezentacja Polski, Dawid Kubacki.
wow, delighted for Dawid Kubacki and Kasper Tomasiak that they did enough to earn third place on the podium. And I do mean earn, just reward actually. And you just never know. Kasper's been in very good form. Dawid Kubacki just might give him a confidence boost. For Slovenia, Timi Zajc, followed by Andrzej Lanasek into the runners-up spot. And so the absolute champions of today's Super Cup, streets ahead of everybody. Jan Hurl and Stefan Embacher, and what a season Stefan Embacher's having. This remarkable 19-year-old, 4 podiums already. Second in Falun, third on New Year's Day in Garmisch, third in Innsbruck, third overall in the Four Hills. The double junior world champion of 24 and 25. What a step forward he's taken.
Marszałka województwa małopolskiego i pana Ireneusza Sitarskiego, wiceprezesa zarządu Orlen.
Well, the prizes and the mementos.
Szukamy następców mistrza. I to one właśnie pomagają we wręczaniu kwiatów. Za miejsce drugie poproszę o wręczenie kwiatów i nagród. A wręczać będą pan Łukasz Filipowicz, burmistrz miasta Zakopane, i pan Andrzej Skupień, starosta tatrzański. Za miejsce trzecie.
Well, I can only imagine that that's some local skill.
A wręczać będą panowie Witold Kozłowski, wicemarszałek województwa małopolskiego, i pan Sławomir Luliński, dyrektor Centralnego Ośrodka Sportu. A w dekoracji przypomnę, że biorą udział dzieci z programu Szukamy Następców Mistrza. Well,
there's a lot of personal appreciation for David Kubacki and encouragement as well. Those Polish fans are really delighted with what those two boys have managed to achieve. So it should be just the national anthem of Austria now to recognise their success in this second, or their second success in Super Team Cups for Jan Hurl and Stefan Embacher, who really have been the masters of the day.
Proszę o powstanie hymn narodowy Austrii. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for national anthem of Austria. Meine Damen und Herren, Nationalhymne Österreich. Przez chwilę poczuliśmy się jak nad modrym Dunajem w Austrii.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the action here in Zakopane and it's whetted your appetite for tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be a lot more competitive, even though there are some important absentees who are resting. Nonetheless, I think that Jan Hurl will be striving for that elusive first victory of the season. 2 runners-up spots so far, and he'd be my favourite to take the victory tomorrow. Time for us to take our leave wherever you are in FIS TV land. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and do join us for the next competition, the individual competition tomorrow, which is actually competition number 17 of the 30 in the Viessmann supported World Cup of ski jumping. So from the winter sports capital of Poland, from Zakopane, nestling in the low Tatra Mountains, I wish you a very good evening. On behalf of FIS TV again, thank you for watching. For now, bye-bye from Poland.
It was quite complicated for the start, the second place for you, but finally you did it. To było skomplikowane po pierwszej serii, to drugie miejsce, ale w końcu to osiągnęli. How you feel in Zakopane? Schumacher und Jan Herrl, Stefan Kraft und Daniel Zakopane.